All right. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining. I am Jessica Munger. I'm the program coordinator for Move to Amend, and I work out of our national office here in sunny Sacramento. And we're going to go ahead and get started with our webinar tonight, which is about the Move to Amend Arts and Culture Caucus. So before we get into the meat of it, just a little bit of help. If you're hearing me now, it'd be great if you could type into the chat bar at the left that you can hear me. I think that you can, but just to be sure. If you're having a hard time hearing, check the volume on your computer speakers, and if you're still having a problem, you can try calling in the number here on the screen. I am running this audio by myself, so I might not be able to help you with a lot of technical issues, but you can always contact support at anymeeting.com, which is the website that we're using here, if you need any help. You can also call the office here for another few minutes if you need some help getting on. And throughout this presentation, if you have questions about any of the material, feel free to chat it in the bar on the left, and thank you for letting me know you can hear me. I see that. And I'll answer questions at the end, so you can ask them then or anytime within the presentation as well. Okay, so our agenda today, we're going to do a quick overview of Move to Amend for those of you who might be new or have not heard of what Move to Amend is generally. Then we'll move into specifically the Arts and Culture Caucus of Move to Amend, and we'll tell you about kind of how we formed and why, our current projects, and then some of the stuff that Move to Amend affiliates are doing, and give you some ideas of how you can take action and get connected with the Arts and Culture Caucus. And then we'll answer questions. Okay, so Move to Amend is, for those of you who are not familiar, a coalition of hundreds of organizations and hundreds of thousands of individuals who are committed to social and economic justice, to ending corporate rule, and to building a vibrant democracy that is really accountable to we the people and not corporate interests. So Move to Amend was formed about 5 years ago as Citizens United was coming down from the Supreme Court. And they were a group of folks representing a variety of organizations who had been doing work on democracy and corporate power for decades at that point, who came together knowing that this decision would have major implications, and they wanted to do something about it. So they decided to form Move to Amend, and they put up a splash page online and crashed the website because so many people were interested in doing something about this really important issue. So that was sort of the beginnings of Move to Amend and what we're trying to do. Our goals more specifically are, of course, to pass the We the People Amendment, which makes clear that artificial entities such as corporations, unions, nonprofits, do not have constitutional rights, and that money is not speech. And not only are we trying to pass an amendment, but we're trying to provoke discussion and organizing around how to make real the promise of American democracy that we are taught so much about. And we are approaching that through constitutional renewal. So we're really here to build a democracy movement because we recognize that it's a lot bigger than just, this one amendment. So our work is really to kind of start conversations in our communities as well. Our principles and values I just want to talk about for a little while because I think this really fits in nicely with why the Arts and Culture Caucus exists. So one of our values is anti-oppression and solidarity organizing. And we approach all of our work that we do at Move to Amend with a solidarity organizing and anti-oppression community building framework because corporate rule affects us all in a variety of ways, but particularly it affects communities of color, LGBTQ folks, women, and others who are at the intersection of multiple identities or multiple oppressions. And so we work in solidarity with groups on the front lines who are most impacted by corporate rule and see this as essential to our work to build a vibrant democracy, is to include those communities who really feel the weight of it the most. And then we have a real focus on coalition and movement building. Move to Amend is a coalition organization. So that means, like I said before, that we work with lots of individuals and lots of organizations to build a movement which has the political muscle to make the type of change that we're talking about. That requires building a multiracial, multi-ethnic, cross-class, intergenerational movement. So we work in coalition with lots of other organizations who work on issues that are impacted by corporate rule in order to grow in strength and in numbers. So when we recognize that corporate power is really at the root of so many of the issues that we care about, that gives us a kind of a bridge to connect with other groups on. We also really value grassroots organizing. So Move to Amend is made up of affiliates. Some other organizations might call them chapters in communities all over the country, in both rural areas and cities, who work to educate about corporate power and to pass resolutions and to build for power. And we believe that an end to corporate rule can only happen from the bottom up. And so this means that the majority of our focus right now is on the people. And we do some lobbying for our amendment, but even that really happens mostly on a grassroots level. And we're focusing on igniting and mobilizing people right now, which is really where the grassroots comes in. And I want to make a distinction that we focus mostly on organizing and more on organizing than we do on activism. And I say this because while activism is really important, organizing relies on building relationships and building across issues for power. So we're not just, making events and having people show up to them. We're building relationships in our communities and across our country as well. So our job at National Move to Amend is really to support and build organizers and to help create tools for more effective and deep relationship building and action. We also have dedication to political education and ongoing learning. So we see that as part of our ongoing work to always be learning about intersectionality, about different issues that intersect with corporate rule, and about the history of our movement. So our grassroots leaders, as well as our staff and board and interns, everybody in Move to Amend, goes through a movement education program where we continue to learn about past movements, like I said, intersectionality, and kind of the origins of corporate power. And we know that we stand on the shoulders of giants and that we have a lot to learn from the past in order to build for power now. We also have a value of political and economic independence. So Move to Amend is a nonpartisan organization, and we don't support or endorse candidates or parties. We know that corporate power runs deep in our political system, and we have a commitment to remain independent. So this also means that we don't take donations from organizations who will look to influence our strategy or agenda. We don't align with, a political party because they have lots of money. And this is very important to our success and to the independent movement that we're building. Okay. So about the Move to Amend Arts and Culture Caucus now. Who are we and what do we do? So we're a group of artists and cultural workers and activists and organizers and social change agents and folks who are just interested in this type of work, friends of artists, affiliate members, board staff, folks who just want to learn and share about art or the ways that they are creative in their own organizing. So I want to be very clear that the Arts and Culture Caucus is not just for folks who identify as an artist themselves, but maybe people who are just curious or who, do creative things or consider themselves a hobbyist. It's a really kind of wide range of folks we have on this team. And we partner with artists and collectives and projects to support good work. And we help affiliates and other volunteers engage with artists in their own communities and build relationships with them. And we provide support and materials to help folks to get creative in their own organizing. We share resources, we create resources, and we do projects, which I'll talk more about later. But that's what we do. We're sort of a catch-all for creative work. And so if that is you, if that rings a bell, then we'd love to talk more in any way about ideas you might have or things you're doing. I'll get more deep into that later. So why did we form? We formed the Move to Men Arts and Culture Caucus because we were working with artists already who were doing really revolutionary work. And affiliates also were doing all kinds of creative things, and we wanted to create a space where we could share our ideas and where we could help affiliates who wanted to do this type of work but didn't exactly know how to get started. So we've been working for months now to build partnerships with artists and integrate art into our existing Move to Amend programs. So for instance, we are adding components of this into our barnstorming, the speaking tours that we do all over the country, and into our learning and into a lot of different elements of Move to Amend because it's there, it's unavoidable. And we also know, because we have a dedication to political education, that art and artists have played a really crucial role in movements of the past and in reflecting and also guiding culture and law. So we see that as a symbiotic relationship that really needs intentionality. So that's why we exist. So let me tell you now a little bit about some of the projects we have going that I think are really exciting. The first one is called Corpocracy. So Corpocracy is a very cool collaborative art and activism project. And we work on this project with the Station Museum of Contemporary Art, which is out of Houston, Texas, as well as fixedcapitalism.com, and many artists who are fighting corporate rule with their medium. So this project is really cool because it's both an online exhibition and a series of traveling pop-up art shows that feature a rotation of artists who come in and shine a light on really destructive corporate culture and direct folks towards political education and action through Move to Amend. So you can see this picture here is part of the Corpocracy exhibit, and you can see the website down here. After the webinar tomorrow, we'll send you all a follow-up email with links and direct you to these websites. But if you want to check it out before then, globalcorpocracy.com. And you can see David Cobb here in this picture. He has done a lot of presentations and such at the Station Museum, and it really pairs nicely with the Move to Amend information and presentation with sort of this very intense art behind it that shows really the connections between capitalism and corporatism. And it's a very intense and emotional experience. So we're very excited about Corpocracy, and we have an official launch of the website that will be coming up soon. We'll send an email about that. And we also have several upcoming events. We have one event July 21st in New York City, the pop-up art show at the Deja Vu Art Gallery in New York City. And there's another one coming up in Houston in August. And so it's a really great way to pair art and activism. And y'all will get reminders about those events as they get closer. And if you're interested in doing something like this or hosting or just learning more, you can definitely reach out to us. Christian Sakur, who is one of the organizers of this project, is on the Arts and Culture Caucus and has been really helpful in helping to connect folks with this project. So that's Corpocracy. The next project I want to talk about is Pedagogy and Theatre of the Oppressed. So you may have heard of this before. It's been around a long time. And it supports people whose work challenges oppressive systems by promoting critical thinking and social justice through sort of liberatory theater and popular education. So Pedagogy and Theatre of the Oppressed uses the Theatre of the Oppressed methods to support a world that's based on radical love and social justice instead of oppression and violence. So it unpacks those things in a very physical way, which I think is very clever. And we've been using Pedagogy and Theatre of the Oppressed with affiliates and community members around the country and have found it a really exciting tool to sort of physicalize and confront oppression and think about solutions in a new way. So it's very interactive. It's not sort of scary theater that you have to be an actor to understand. it's kind of taking these everyday sort of oppressions and microaggressions and systems of power and putting it in the laps of the audience to figure out and to work with and play with and decide how they might respond or what could have gone differently. And it's been really great. We've had this Pedagogy and Theater of the Oppressed integrated into our barnstorming tours. Some of our affiliate groups who have welcomed speakers have also done workshops on Theater of the Oppressed together. And we had Catherine Burke and Ruth Eagle-Key of Theater of the Oppressed board come out to our recent leadership summit this year, where our grassroots volunteer leaders came together for a few days to talk about strategy, and we had a great session about Theater of the Oppressed, both how to use it in your activism, and also we did a session together where we had kind of scenes that we worked through together, and it's a great kind of group building activity, and it's also a great way to sort of think about things in a new way. So it's both a fun and very emotional experience, and it blurs the lines between observer and participant, which are so sort of, that we see often in theater. And it creates an interactive way to experience popular education and liberatory thought and really revolutionary action. So I encourage you to check this out. You can see the website down here at the bottom as well. But the link to that will also be in the email that you receive after this webinar. Another very exciting project, or I should say partnership, that we have is with Backbone Campaign. And Backbone Campaign is an organization that provides creative strategies and support in artful action and provides trainings for creative organizing tactics. And they have a really extensive catalog of images and action ideas and other tools to help activists pull off really bold and creative actions. So maybe you've seen the kayaktivists who, get out to block passages of like oil rigs and stuff with their kayaks. It's really, really powerful stuff. And then here's an example. This picture is some like light brigades. The folks at Backbone Campaign also came out to our leadership summit this year and talked to some of our folks about why creative activism is so important and such a useful tactic, and also how to pull off some of these actions, what you need to think about, considering all the things that you need to think about when you go out to do an action, roles to play. It requires a lot of strategy, and so they really offer some of that framework and training so that your actions can be kind of as effective as possible. They also did a demonstration of a light projection. So they teach you how to make these cool tools where you can, for very little money, go out and project messages on buildings and really get your message out in very bold ways publicly. So we have partnered with them on creative action trainings, like I just mentioned. And then also one of our national leadership team members was just up in Washington State for this year's Localize This Action Camp, which happened in June. And there they provide, Move to Amend was part of the political education in a week-long camp where participants explored creative action tactics and how to create all these tools and images and a variety of other skills. So definitely check out Backbone Campaign. They've got tons of resources on their website, and they're doing trainings all the time. So really encourage anyone who's interested to check out backbonecampaign.org. And we have a link to some of their tools also in this email that you'll get from us after this. Okay, the next project is the Crossroads Project. So this is a really unique performance art project that includes performance art and scientific information that are paired to shed light on climate crisis and the really unsustainable nature of our planet due to corporate power. It's a very intense performance that really hits home and brings folks this sort of information in a very unique way that I've never seen before. It's a traveling performance, and they use really compelling and poetic science and evocative imagery and powerful music, which just unfolds in this series of vignettes that explores both the natural and human systems and sort of how they work together to juxtapose these two very different paradigms. And the result is really inspiring and deeply personal. So Move to Amend is working with these folks to sort of bring a call to action component to this performance, because when you leave this performance, you have this sense of wanting to do something, and so that's where we come in and guide folks to a really systemic solution with that energy that they leave these performances with. So we'll be working with them in the future to give this call to action and really work with artists to create a more sustainable world. So I highly encourage you to check that out. It's very cool. There are some videos online at the crossroadsproject.org. Okay, the next project is the Song News Network. So David Rovics, who is a folk singer and a friend of Move to Amends, is launching a new project. It's fairly recent that this happened, and the Songs News Network is a daily feed of songs related to current and historical events. So I think this sort of started because folks were like talking about how there was so much music being produced right now, but so much of it is not really talking about reality and isn't necessarily moving people to action. And so the Songs News Network is really cool, and it's the network really has an impact if people submit songs, of course. So David Rovics is calling on musicians and folks to submit songs that they would like to be part of this online broadcast. So if you're interested, if you have thoughts or songs yourself and are interested in sharing with the broader public, go ahead and like his page. There's a Facebook page. You can also look at this URL here down at the bottom of this page and like it and share the page, and there'll be posts forthcoming each day so you can keep track of what's being played. And again, I'll send a resource list with links to this website after the webinar. Okay, and now I want to talk a little bit about Move to Amend affiliates who are organizing and doing really exciting things in their communities. So aside from these projects that we've talked about, Move to Amend affiliates are really, for me, what made me want to get involved in the Arts and Culture Caucus and get it started. Because I went on a barnstorming tour a couple of years ago and stopped at several different affiliates to do speaking events and realized that there was so much happening that I had no idea about. I saw choreographed dances and music of a bunch of different genres and puppets and skits and full-length plays and YouTube videos and short stories and graphics and so much more. People are doing very creative things out there. And so we really wanted to kind of share that with other folks and learn. I'm sure that there's much more happening than we know about at all. One affiliate hosted a barnstorming event again and performed songs and dances to kick off the event and did a little intermission with a song and dance in the middle as well. One affiliate hosted an art street fair and invited the community to come and learn about corporate personhood while they enjoyed music and paintings and performances, and they made their own art too. So it was really interactive, and it got the conversation started with Move to Amend organizers and artists in the community who were collaborating on this event. Let's see, several affiliates have made puppets that they use in parades and other events. I know there's like a Mr. Moneybag puppet in the St. Paul, Minneapolis area that they use. You can see that on this previous slide here. So that's really effective, especially for students. They sometimes take puppets into schools, and that's a clever way to get students to talk about money and greed and corporate rule. I know that the folks in Nevada County have these big amendment signs that they carry with them as they march in parades, and it's a big graphic that draws people's attention to them. And let's see, there are folks up in Washington State who made really clever like pizza boxes that talked about the TPP and the TPP pizza, and just really satirical, clever, creative images. And some of those have been shared with us from the folks who made them, and so that'll be part of the email that I'll send out too, so you can see and kind of adapt them for your own affiliate if you want. And we'd really love to know what you're doing in your community, because like I said, we don't know what's out there exactly, so it would be great to hear the clever stuff that affiliate volunteers are doing in their own communities, and if you have any templates or instructions to share, we love to do that. So we've got some of that stuff online, and there's also toolboxes, through some of our partner organizations that can help you learn how to make banners and like this photo here, these light displays, and all of that. So there's a lot happening out there. I know some affiliates like to dress up in costumes and hold kind of satirical corporate weddings and birthday parties or other events to mock the absurdity of corporate personhood. And that's been really fun. We had an action last year to celebrate the birthday of the corporate person. So we had affiliates, wearing hats and lighting candles and baking birthday cakes and having these big parties in front of big corporate headquarters to sort of do a street theater performance. And so on our website and also in the email that I'll send you, we have instructions for making corporate person costumes and different skit scripts and things like that. So there's tons to do, and plenty more that we've never thought of. So the next thing is to take action. So please share your creativity with us. What are you doing? Whether you identify as an artist or not at all, you're doing something clever. So we want to hear about it. And if you want to be doing something creative, we invite you to join our monthly calls for support and ideas and sort of to bounce ideas around. We have a call the first Tuesday of each month at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. And we reserve the first bit of that call for any new folks who want to jump on and ask questions about specific projects or just about artful action in general. And we often have a discussion question during our calls and kind of catch up on business and also support new folks. So we'd love for you to come on no matter why, even if you're just curious. So we had a call today, so the next one won't be until August. And try out creative actions with your affiliate or group. Like I said, you'll get some resources after this call. There's also plenty of stuff online, and if you check out our project websites, you'll find just tons of resources. So try it out and let us know how it goes. Something else I think we should really be working on as people who are interested in creative action is capturing those actions, because in a world of social media, it's really important to have videos of that stuff, because you can have an action with 5 or 10 people, and that's effective. But if you have an action that you've captured on video, then you can share it with the internet, then it is even more effective. So if you do try some of these things, we'd love to see video of it or pictures at least, so that can be shared with other groups as well. And get to know and work with artists in your community. We can definitely help you with that. We've got a lot of affiliates who are doing that already, who are working with hip-hop artists and graphic artists and students who are interested in theater and all kinds of folks in their community. And the results have really been amazing. There's a group in St. Paul who is doing these improvisational public policy discussions with students, college students, so they get together and they do discussions about kind of current events in politics, and they have improv actors kind of play it out. And so there's all kinds of stuff happening in your community that you probably don't know about, and if you do, then great. And if you don't, then get to know them, because that's a really important part of getting our message out. and think about organizing an event. Like I said, the street fair that some folks in Florida did was really fun. If you're going to have a Move to Amend speaker coming to you anytime soon, maybe consider reaching out to artists and saying, you know, hey, we have a platform, we're organizing an event, we'd love for you to be part of it. You know, and most artists can understand on some level like how corporate power affects us, because it affects the world of art and production and who gets to see what on a daily basis. So, you know, engage artists in conversations about how their work is affected by corporate power, and organize events with them, do fun things. And visit movetoamend.org/arts and culture caucus, hyphens between each of those words. If you search Arts and Culture Caucus in the search bar, you'll find it. Or if you go to the first tab on the left on the website, you can see the different caucuses and find information there. And if you're interested in this and maybe can't join a call or want this information in another way, you can certainly reach out to us. You can email me, Jessica, at movetoamend.org, or Ruthie Engelke, who is the co-chair with me of the Arts and Culture Caucus, and she's at Ruthie, R-U-T-H-I, at movetoamend.org. And we'd love to talk with you and learn and see what you're up to. So that covers the basics of Move to Amend Arts and Culture Caucus. We're very excited. It's a fairly new caucus. It's like I said, this is just the kind of public debut, and so you know, if you have anything that you want to add, we'd love to hear about it. And we're very excited about the projects we have coming up and the ones we've done already, and think that this is a very important component of building a real movement that in which law and culture work together to create positive change. So thank you so much. I'm going to open it up now for any questions. If you do have questions, you can go ahead and type them in the chat bar here on the left. I know you all can't see each other's questions, but I can, and I will read them aloud if you have any before I answer. No questions? Okay. Well, if you do have any, feel free to give us a call at the office, or you can email me, again, Jessica at movetoamend.org, or just hop on our call. And I want to thank you all so much for joining and learning about Arts and Culture Caucus. And after you leave the webinar here, you'll be directed to a survey. And if you could fill that out, that's really helpful so we know how to make these webinars even better. Oh, and I do have some questions. Excellent. Let's see, Barbara says, if someone in my group wants to be on calls, what's the number? Yes, the number is on the email that I'll send out tomorrow with all of that information. I thought it might be too much to put on the webinar and have people try to jot it down, but it's there, and I will also add it to the website, but it's a standard conference call number. Thanks for asking. Can you submit cartoons you drew? Absolutely, yeah, we'd love to see anything. Yes, cartoons are great. Okay, looks like that's it. Let's see. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. It's really great to talk with you. Please get in touch if you have any questions or want to show us anything at all. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.